Good afternoon to all. Good afternoon, Mr. Naji.
Good afternoon.
So this morning we have quite extensively discussed risk management topics, setting the scene for IFRS 9, discussing the need of compromise between political expectations and social expectations and the requirement for sustainability, for durability. And this afternoon, to start, we have two presentations, yours and one of Sotugar, about your pricing strategy. And this will help us to dive more into practical business and how you succeed in to reconcile both expectations, political and financial. So you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would express you and all the colleagues my sincere thanks for this opportunity. I'm sure that this academy is very fruitful once you have hosting very esteemed experts. Let me introduce myself. This is Adnan Naji. I'm the CEO of the Jordan Loan Guarantee Corporation. I'm just appointed here 40 days ago, so I'm a newcomer for this industry, but I'm not far away from the industry because I was working for the Central Bank of Jordan as advisor for the bank's supervision and executive manager for the risk management. So I'm very familiar with credit risk, liquidity, interest rate risk, the requirements, international standards, IFRS 9, etc. I will start with a short brief about JLGC. Jordan Loan Guarantee Corporation was established in 1994 with paid-up capital around equivalent to 41 million US dollar. The establishing of JLGC was a project sharing between the public sector and the private sector because 45% of the capital is owned by the Central Bank of Jordan, while 49% is owned by banks that operating in Jordan. Why do we have JLGC? Because we consider it as one of the main pillars in the safety net that we have in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. As well, we have deposit insurance, we have consumer protection, we have financial literacy functions. So we consider JLGC is to play a vital role in supporting the economy of Jordan, supporting mainly the vulnerable customers to have access to finance, which will enhance the environment of financial inclusion. So our main target is to grant loans that guarantee loans that granted for or should be granted for vulnerable customers. And this will be very clear from the support given to the JLGC from our main shareholder, which is the Central Bank of Jordan. Here it's very clear that 45% is owned by the Central Bank of Jordan, 49% owned by banks operating in Jordan, and the rest of shareholders are others, very minor. This is the source of funds, how we can practice our work, how we can support the business of JLGC. Actually, we have very great support from the Central Bank of Jordan. This is the total amount of loans that granted from Central Bank of Jordan to the JLGC, 655 million NJD, which is equal to around 1 billion or around 1 billion in US dollar. The mechanism of this support is Central Bank of Jordan granted loans to the JLGC. JLGC buy sovereign bonds issued by the government of Jordan. those bonds are pledged to the benefit of the Central Bank of Jordan. The interest rate for those loans are almost 1% to 2%, so it's nothing as a cost of funds. The rest of income, for example, let's say that each bond has or hold 5% as interest rate or 6% as interest rate. 1 or 2% are paid to the Central Bank of Jordan, while the rest of 4% are retained here in the JLGC financials and considered as a subordinated loan or supported source of funds to the JLGC. And how do we use this amount of money? We use it to build the provisions against our credit risk. This is the mechanism of how Central Bank of Jordan grant loans to the benefit of the JLGC. The programs we have in place, mainly we have two main programs. We have loan guarantee programs and we have export credit insurance. On the first side, loan guarantee programs, we have small enterprising financing guarantee programs, which is granted through conventional banks and Islamic banks, as well the national program for facing COVID-19 pandemic. And by the way, this program is stopped and we are implementing exit policy now from this program. Also, we have microfinance loan guarantee program and medium enterprises financing guarantee program. This program is also granted from the conventional banks as well Sharia compliant or Islamic banks. And we have here the details of each program: small and medium enterprises, entrepreneurship financing program, microfinance guarantee program, and startups guarantee program, and the renewable energy program. And very soon we will launch a new program for green finance in cooperation with the Central Bank of Jordan and banks operating in Jordan. Those are the sectors that we are covering: trade, industries, different sectors, different type of customers who have activities in Jordan: transportation, construction, education, tourism. All types of sectors are covered. Here we have some statistics about our programs. These are the limits or the maximum amount we can guarantee for each granted loan. SME programs, the limit is 250,000 JD, which is equivalent to $400,000 US. Industrial loan, 3 million, equivalent to 4.5 million US dollar. Kafala program for Islamic banks, Kafala program for a trade sector, entrepreneurship, small startups program may reach to 500,000 JD, equivalent to 750,000 US dollar. On the other side, we have the export credit insurance program. The maximum amount we can guarantee around 30 million JD, which is equivalent to 45 million in US dollar. For domestic sales, domestic credit insurance, the maximum amount we can guarantee 4 million JD, equivalent to 6 million US dollar. This is the amount of grants, guaranteed volume for each program. The total amount is 394 million JD, equivalent to around 600 million US dollar. And we have in the other column here, we have the number of loans. The total number of loans are 9,213 programs. On the other side, the guaranteed programs for export, for credit export, is 403 programs. Here we have the number of granted loans since 2019 till end of 2023. We can see there is a decline between 2022 and 2023. You may ask why we have this decline in the granted loans. This is due to the exit plan of Corona program, because it is stopped in mid of 2023. So we are implementing exit strategy from this program, so we can see the declining of number of loans and the amount of loans as well. Here is the amount of loans. But unfortunately, I don't have the detailed numbers, but if we go through other programs, SME, MSME, export, startups, entrepreneurship, and others, we can see the good growth on those programs. But the Corona program was very huge, so the decline in this program unfortunately impact the total amount of loans and the total amount of guaranteed amounts. Here is some statistics about export credit program. We have the number of shipments, the volume, the guaranteed values, the total amount, or the outstanding balance now is 145 million US dollar, equivalent to 250,000 million in US dollar. Let's go to the core of our presentation, the pricing policy. Any question about the introduction and about the programs of the JLGC, the diversification, the sectors, the limits we are guaranteed? Okay. Product pricing, actually, we don't implement one size fits all. We don't have one price for across the board the programs or for all programs, because we have conducted many market research just to know our customers, to know their needs, to assess the impact of our commission on their eligibility and on their ability to have access to finance and to get loans from the banks. After this heavy research or market research, we built a very clear idea about the market, the type of customers, the sectors, the products, the tenor, the amount of each loan. And then we built our policy. We developed it internally in cooperation with some experts from the GIZ, experts from the IFC, World Bank, many international, well-esteemed institutions. They helped us in developing our pricing policy. After preparing the pricing policy, we go through the governance process. This policy was discussed by the risk committee, and then it was discussed by the board of directors and approved by them. But mainly this policy was prepared as a first draft from the JLGC team, the business units in cooperation with risk management function and financial department. So the price structure currently is based on our experience in the Jordanian market and the ability of customers, because our main aim, our main mission in JLGC is to support vulnerable customers, to enable them to have access to finance, to support economic growth, to build the capacity on in those sectors. So we have many rules, but mainly enhancing financial inclusion environment in Jordan. The pillars or the main factors of the pricing policy are the source of funds. And as I mentioned before, our main source of funds is the amount granted from the Central Bank of Jordan. And I have given you a brief about the mechanism of those loans. The net gain or the net income from those loans are recognized in our financials as income, but we have to depends on the agreement between the Central Bank of Jordan and JLGC. The total income should be recognized as a provision. Despite that, we are calculate a provision for a credit risk that we are facing based on international best practices and based on IFRS 9 requirements. But this exercise is for internal use. But the total amount of the provisions is the total amount or the total income from those loans, and this is considered an additional layer of funding for JLGC. But mainly we are talking about the cost of funds, which is very low. The other factor is the risk margin for each program in general. And then we are drill down to assess the risk in each sector, in each program. First of all, we assess the program itself. Then we assess the sectors that may use this program. And number 3, we assess the customer. Here, it's good to say that customers should submit their applications to banks. They are not contacting us, or they are not contacting JLGC directly. They have to go through any of the banks operating in Jordan. The bank will receive the credit application. The bank should review it based on the criteria approved by us and approved by that bank. We have agreements with all banks. After that, if the bank is satisfied with the customer, if they have some notes, if they have some gaps with the application, we are discussing with the bank. After that, the bank will transfer the application to JLGC to guarantee this loan. We assess the sector, the program, the customer, and then we will make decision about the price. But meanwhile, we have range. This range is very clear here. For each program, we have range for each program, but let me proceed with this point. The factor number 3 is the overheads and operational cost at the JLGC. Here, I would like to mention that despite JLGC is registered as public shareholding company, as I mentioned in the beginning, but actually JLGC is a non-profit organization. We are not here to make a profit. We are not insurance institution. So our pricing is based on supporting customers, supporting growth, supporting the Jordanian economy, not on making a profit. But to make some type of balance or strike some kind of balance, we have to balance between the cost and the income. Our main income is from the proceeds from the loans granted from the Central Bank of Jordan, as well the commissions we get from banks on the guaranteed amounts. So the 3 factors of the pricing are the source of funds or cost of fund, risk margin, overheads. We are not looking for making a profit. Despite that, we make a very low margin of a profit annually. We didn't record any losses in any of our experience since 1994. The SME loan guarantee, traditional banks, here we have to distinguish between conventional banks and Sharia compliant or Islamic banks. The rate for Islamic banks is a little bit different from the rate at the conventional banks. This is due to Sharia concerns. This is due to the mechanism of calculating the commission. It's clear here in bold for Islamic banks. For example, small startups program, the range is 1% to 0.004. 0.004, this is the rate of Islamic bank. Why it seems very low? Because the commission is calculated from the date of implementation. Once we implement the loan, we have to start calculating the commission. The date from the date of implementation of the financing on the balance guaranteed by the company, and is calculated for the entire financing period. So I can express it in another way. It's a flat rate. It is not a discounted rate. For conventional banks, it's calculated on a monthly basis, but for Islamic banks, it's calculated for the entire period that the loan is guaranteed by the JLGC. The range for industrial loan guarantee, it's 0.075. The commission is calculated from the date of implementation of the financing on the balance sheet by the company and is calculated on a monthly basis and collected quarterly from each case by case. Also, we have Kafala program. It's Islamic financing. Also, here we can see the rate is very low. It's 0.004 also. As well, the commission is calculated from the date of implementation, the financing. It's good to mention here that commission on granted loans for the industrial service sector was reduced from 1% to 0.007 based on a decision from Central Bank of Jordan to support these economic sectors operating in Jordan during Corona crisis. Reduction has continued till now. We didn't reprice the program again. We still proceed or continue with the same rate, which is 0.07, just to support. But on the other side, Central Bank of Jordan decided to increase its support to JLGC and to increase the loans granted from the Central Bank of Jordan to the benefit of JLGC. Also, the Commission for Emerging Projects program was also reduced from 1.5% to reach 1% during Corona crisis, and this rate is still valid till now. So again, we don't have fixed the price rate. We are trying to implement a variable policy from sector to sector, from customer to customer, from program to program, just to achieve our main goal, which is support our vulnerable customers, support sectors that need to have access to finance, and they cannot access banks directly because they don't have collaterals, they don't have history, they don't have well-prepared financial statements prepared based on international accounting standards or IFRS. So our main mission here is to support those types of customers to enhance the financial inclusion and to enable them to have access to get loans and to get financing from banks operating in Jordan. Here, I would like to mention that also we have programs with some microfinance institutions operating in Jordan. As far as I know, because I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation that I'm just appointed 40 days ago, so I'm not aware of everything, but I will try to do my best to have a clear idea about JLGC. We have engaged with agreements with 4 or 5 microfinance institutions operating in Jordan. They can grant loans to their customers with our conditions, and then they can submit those credit applications to the JLGC, and we can add our guarantee on the amounts granted by them to certain types of customers, to certain types of programs, as well the programs that we have engaged with banks that operating in Jordan. I hope our approach in pricing is clear to all of you. Again, we don't have standard policy, we don't have standard rates. We cannot compare the pricing policy implemented by JLGC with the pricing policy that have a place in big financial institutions such as banks, because they have a very clear cost of funds, the deposits, the rate, they have the overheads, risk margin, they have advanced models to assess risk, and then they add their profit margin on the total price. So they may have some type of standard pricing policy. On the here in JLGC, this is very harsh to implement in this obvious way. We cannot implement very clear policy in this way because we are a non-profit organization effectively, but as I mentioned before, JLGC is registered as a public shareholding company, but effectively it is a non-profit organization. The pricing is based on the support of from the Central Bank of Jordan, the amount they are granted to the benefit of JLGC. Then we can proceed with our exercise to assess the programs, to assess the sectors, and then to assess the customers in each sector that may be eligible to get benefit from programs launched by or presented by the JLGC. Again, one size fits all is not valid policy for the JLGC. Our pricing policy is variable. It depends on the economic conditions and the macroeconomic indicators that we have in Jordan. So we may increase or decrease the rate based on the feedback we are getting from the market, because we have an ongoing contact with the market. Always we contact the customers to have their feedback about the programs, about the pricing, about the efficiency of each programme. We use this feedback.
Aussi concernant la tarification et aussi les différents programmes, et aussi avec le retour d'expérience.
JLGC. I have here some summary of the financial position for the last 2 years. And what I mentioned before, that we are non-profit organization, it might be very clear here because we have here the operational revenues, we have investment revenues and others. On the other side, we have overheads, internal expenses, administrative expenses, and we have provisions and other fees. Also, we pay income tax. And the last line here, we have the ratio of operating revenues to operating expense. It's 141%. So I think we are in this structure, we are fine, we are doing well, and we are trying to support our customers more and more. This is through the JLGC future plans, is to review and develop exiting programs from the Corona program, providing new programs, and the main program we are preparing now, and it's in its final stage, is a green finance program. This program will be in cooperation also with the Central Bank, with the World Bank, and many other donors, to strengthening communication with all economic sectors and customers, just to have their feedback and to reflect the feedback on our internal policies and the procedures, developing internal work policies and the procedures, and continuing to cooperate with international institutions and bodies such as your esteemed academy and your esteemed institutions. to support JLGC and to enhance our programs and to introduce new programs in the future. This is a very quick presentation. I hope it was clear, and my voice also was clear. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Naji. I think your voice was very clear. Perhaps some Q&A? Okay, I have one to start. You were talking about Sharia compliant banks.
Yes.
And stating that the pricing, thank you. The pricing seems very low, but
it seems low.
It seems, but I don't know if it is in percentage or not. So, can you elaborate further about this? What is the difference that you are making for Islamic banks? I think that in many countries in this room, we have also Islamic banks. What is different? Why do you what is different for you in pricing the risk beyond just the structure of the loan, which is different? Yeah. So you can have a different way to invoice commissions, but beyond this, which is certainly part of the answer, what is the difference in risk perception?
Yes. Let me elaborate something first. Each Islamic financial institution, each Islamic bank has what we call Sharia Advisor Council or Sharia Council. The Sharia Council should approve the mechanism of each transaction conducted by the Islamic bank. One of the transactions is our program, Kafala program, or guarantee program for clients of Islamic banks. On the conventional banks, the rate is implemented on a monthly basis, so the amount of commission is reduced once the outstanding balance of the loan is reduced. Let's say the amount of loan is 1,000, and the customer should repay $100 monthly. In the first month, we calculate the provision for the total outstanding balance, 1,000. In month 2, the client supposed to be repaid $100. So the outstanding balance is 900. The commission here is calculated on the 900. After 4 months, the customer supposed to be repaid 400. So the commission is calculated for the outstanding balance, which is 600. On the other side, for Sharia bank, this is not valid. The amount is calculated on the total guaranteed loan from the day 1 till the end of the loan, or till the loan is repaid totally and the outstanding balance is 0. This is why the rate of commission is totally different from loans guaranteed to the benefit of conventional banks and the loans guaranteed to the benefit of Islamic banks. So the mechanism is totally different. This is technique, but effectively, if we would like to calculate the effective rate or the effective interest rate, because I cannot say interest rate for Sharia or for Islamic banks, if we want to calculate the effective rate for Sharia bank or Islamic banks and the effective interest rate for conventional banks, it will be almost the same. At the end of the loan period, once the client repaid the amount totally, the commission collected by JLGC almost will be the same for customers of Islamic banks and customers of conventional banks. So the technique is different, but effectively no difference.
Okay.
This is Sharia concern. We cannot. Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Is that clear? Fine with
No,
you?
I think it's clearer. I have just a last final question about, you were speaking about export credit insurance.
Yes.
Definitely we think that it can be of great support for SMEs because as an introduction, we were speaking about the need to strengthen medium enterprise. I don't have to say small and medium, but medium enterprises to become local champions and to be able to benefit from also the market in neighborhood countries. So export insurance, I think, is definitely something that can help. Just a question, do you consider at JLGC as a product which is more commercial and that can, from not necessarily all of the fees, but at least parts which has a commercial pricing, a more commercial pricing, because it is an insurance product, and then that can, support the financial balance and the financial soundness of JLGC, or do you consider it as other products with more social or more not-for-profit approach, and how do you price it?
Actually, as I mentioned before, we are not looking for making a profit, but meanwhile, we don't want to recognize or to record loss. So we have to strike this kind of balance between commission rates and the costs or the overheads that paid internally. We have our team, we have external auditor, we have a legal advisor, we have expenses. We have to build the capacity of our staff. So the commission, always, we try to have at the lowest level that keeping us breathing. This is totally our main message. This is totally our main mission, because the role we are playing in the Jordanian economy is to support vulnerable customers. Here we are talking about the export credit. You know that we have a few number of large corporate operating in Jordan. Those large corporate, they are going direct to banks. They can have LCs easily to import and to export. But the vulnerable customers, the SME customers, they don't have history, they don't have well-prepared financials, they don't have collateral. It's not easy for them to get access to banks and to have LCs or to export through LCs, because it's a very safe way for each parties, for the importer and for exporter. So here we are, make some type of intervention in the market, and we say, yes, okay, you can practice this activity, you can make exports through policies, and we can add our guarantee on the amount or on the shipments you do to any party, to any customer outside Jordan. Once those customers build their capacity, they have their own funds, they grow up, they can, and this is our dream, is to see our customers growing up and say, thank you, JLGC, we don't need your help anymore, because now we are mature, we can continue our life alone. This is our message. Our success is to have our customers growing up and depends on themselves. In new programs, yes, we are developing currently many programs in cooperation with Central Bank of Jordan, with JLG, with World Bank, with IFC, with GIZ, with BMZ, the Ministry of something in Germany, the BMZ, Ministry of Planning and International Cooperation in Germany. They are playing a vital role in supporting JLGC. Yes, we will launch very soon the Green Finance Program, as well many other programs to other types or to other social classes in Jordan. We are talking about the individuals, very, very small business. It's not registered as a establishment or as a firm. They conducted their business by themselves. We will develop programs to add our guarantee on the amount that might be granted to the benefit of those customers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Naji. Yes, a question from...
Deux questions peut-être. J'ai constaté que la garantie pour les financements islamiques, ce sont des commissions qui sont prepaid, payées par avance ou collectées par avance. Et les crédits, pour les banques traditionnelles, c'est une commission qui est calculée mensuellement et collectée trimestriellement. Et donc, si par exemple le projet qui a été garanti ne marche pas, donc tout d'abord, est-ce que cette commission, elle est le responsable du paiement, est-ce que c'est la banque ou les clients ou c'est le bénéficiaire du crédit? Si c'est le bénéficiaire qui supporte cette commission, si le projet ne marche pas, c'est-à-dire il y a un défaut de paiement, dans ce cas, ni la commission va être recouverte, ni le crédit obtenu ou garanti ne va être remboursé. Et dans ce cas, le mécanisme de garantie ou la société de garantie, comment elle va trouver ses ressources pour prendre en charge les défauts de paiement ou l'indemnisation qui va être payée.
I think I've got the first point of your question. You are asking about the rate of Sharia compliant bank or Islamic banks. Yes, definitely the commission is collected in advance, but I would like to have translation in English.
No, the question was if in Islamic, your Islamic scheme, it is prepaid. So c'est plutôt bien que ce soit prépayé. So it's pretty good, but for traditional banks, it's not prepaid. And the question was if it is not prepaid, and then you have a default, how do you manage the loss because you don't have the fees? So you have to pay the full default, but you haven't earned something which is very consistent.
In the second case, yes, if the customer make default and the loan is defaulted, yes, of course, we will not record any income from this loan. Not only this, but also we have to pay the guaranteed amount to the bank. Also, we have to pay the interest for 6 months to the bank. So our program covers the guaranteed amount, which is 80, 85%, 90% depend on the program. In addition to that, we have to pay the interest for 6 months to that bank. So we are guaranteed the principal, it should be repaid by JLGC, and the interest for 6 months also it should be repaid by JLGC. And this recorded as loss in our records.
Okay, I want to add a small question.
Yes.
So regarding the Islamic banking programs, do you monitor these programs separately from the other normal program with the normal characteristics? And if so, can you tell me how do you manage this portfolio or this program when it comes to operational workflow practices in your company?
Thank you for your question, because actually we have, imagine that we have 10 entities inside JLGC, because we have a chart of accounts for each program. We have chart of accounts for Sharia compliant bank for each program in Sharia compliant banks. We have chart of accounts for each program for conventional banks, and we have chart of accounts for the amount granted by the Central Bank of Jordan, and we have chart of accounts for export credit program. So your question is right. It's not easy for us to have a proper follow-up, to have a proper reporting. It is very headache. But fortunately, we have a genius team. We have also support from the Central Bank of Jordan and support from some international donors that helped us to build our accounting system. This system was tested internally by the internal auditor, as well external consultant, and as a third line of defense, it was tested by the external auditor, because it's not easy to follow up with this very sophisticated or complicated chart of accounts. Again, your question is right. It's headache to have a proper follow-up, but fortunately, it was a success story, and we have very clear accounts now, and we can have a very clear follow-up with conventional and Islamic banks for each type of programs that we are have in place.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Naji.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have questions. Just to add, I think at Finactu, we really think that export credit insurance is a good way to boost activity from national guarantee funds, especially in Africa. Sorry for Jordan, but Jordan is already in. So you have the continental free exchange zone, which is starting now. And now it is very complicated for an SME, for instance, in Algeria, to export something to Senegal. I did this. You have to issue a letter of credit confirmed by a German bank. This is how it happened, and it's extremely expensive. And you are a lot of SMEs or medium-sized companies, especially in North Africa, who have also potential to export in sub-Saharan Africa. And the share of intra-African trade is so low that it can grow easily. But the question is how to secure LCs, how for a bank in Guinea to have a confirmation from a bank in Egypt, and it's extremely difficult. And definitely we think that there is tremendous potential in this, especially when relying on regional guarantee funds, which are not counter-guarantee, but it's a kind of counter-guarantee. It's regional guarantee funds that can be the bridge between both national guarantee fund. Really, we think that it is a very good thing, and there's a very good potential to create jobs. So now I think I leave room to Sotugar.
But just to add, just a few comments on in this regard. Once we built the export credit program, it wasn't easy at all, because we have to serve clients operating in Jordan. Meanwhile, we have to protect them because they are not very mature. They cannot have access to data, or they cannot make proper investigations about the customers that they will export those goods or services to them. So we have to engage with agreement with international service providers. Once a Jordanian client submit application to have export credit guarantee, we will ask him about the beneficial or the customer. They will make the shipment to his benefit. We send this name to the to those international service providers just to make investigation about that company or about that firm, if they are doing well, if they have any low cases, if they have any problems internally or externally. After that, we will receive a report from the service provider. We pay for this service, by the way, we have to pay. And this cost is paid from the JLGC just to protect the benefits of our customers. Once we receive the service provider report, we will contact our customer that the client you want to export some goods to, his benefit is doing well, and you can proceed with this shipment, and we add our guarantee on that transaction. So it's not easy to introduce the service because you have to make a proper study from the client. You have to make the exercise internally because those clients are not contacting JLGC through banks. They're contacting JLGC directly without the intermediation of mediation role of banks as well. Other programs. In other programs, the client will contact the bank. The bank make the exercise, the assessment, the credit review. After that, they submit the application to the JLGC. In the export credit programs, it's totally different because the clients are contacting JLGC directly. So the burden is 100% on our shoulders. So we have to make the exercise internally to assess our customer, to contact the service provider, to get its report, to assess it, and then back again to the customer with a proper answer that you can proceed or you cannot because the customer you want to export is or having serious problems or low cases or any other concerns, and you cannot proceed with this shipment. If you can go personally, we cannot add our guarantee on that shipment. So heavy exercise to work in this program.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Naji. We think that perhaps you can also rely, it's not the case today, but within Africa, you can also rely on guarantee funds from the local countries that could support the importer. Yes. Some of them are already doing this. So thank you again. Yeah, now we will switch to Sotugar presentation.